Hi everybody. Put this somewhere where I can also see the chat. Aries. James. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, a lot of excitement. Not sure what's going on there, but that's better. That's better. I'm shrinking the window so I can see. Let me face the light so you all can see. Yeah, it always happens like that. Chen, when you're busy sleeping, that's when the action is. You're in Malaysia, right? Yeah, I'm in Thailand. Every time 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, that's where the action happens. I was up at 6 to take some profit down there, but boy, market doesn't make it easy, huh? Look at the chart. Let me switch over. Screen share. Turn off all the annotations. 4-hour chart. Mayon, good day. Michael, good day. So I don't know how many people are gonna make this chat, this live stream, because like it's not at the usual time, right? This is the only time I could do it. This is the only time I could do it. Try and get some more light in my face. Looks like there's 4 of you and me. Maybe there are more people. If anybody else is on, just give me a signal. Looks like there are 11 of us, but everybody is not chatting. We have few, but we're a legion. Yeah. So we're the bulls. This is the thing. We're the bulls when it's the time to be bullish, and we're the bears when it's time to be bearish. And right now, things are looking really bearish. Really. It's only that I'm in the Bitstamp chart, right? I just want to show you guys this while we wait a little bit. This is the 4-hour chart, right? And it might be a little bit messy, right? Because there's a lot of annotations on here, but well, we never zoom out this far. Let me just show you that along this level here, you see where my cursor is going? Along there. If I switch on the annotations, you see there's a kind of a magenta line there. The market has often had issues at this level. Right, over there. That was the initial, that was the low, and then the market bounced out of this area. and it returned to this trend line, and then it made its final low, and that final wave to the downside is always the strongest, right? You see this one here, after it kind of makes a correction, then the final wave down is just devastating. You see there's a correction, then there's devastation. There was you can count 5 waves in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it makes a correction. It made it from this level. And then there was a devastation. So conceivably what we're looking at is the same thing, right? Price is busy correcting above this level. Then it's going to slice through it and we're going to make a new low. Either go to the same low or lower. If the market doesn't go below 6,000 this time, then it's going to do it it's going to go below 6,000 at some point in the future, because if we look at this chart just in its raw kind of arithmetic format, right? Price really carved into below this 200 MA in the 4-hour chart, and the bulls just couldn't get 12,000. You know, they were reaching, and now it's below the 200 MA of the 4-hour chart. Again, we're below the 1-day 20 MA of 200 MA. Sorry, 1-day 200 MA. We're below the 1-week 20 MA. This could be the biggest bear market that Bitcoin has had. So we're here, right? And we're not going to make believe that this is not happening. I don't want to poo-poo the bulls and say, oh, they're scared and they're in denial here. Obviously they are, but, you know, because they're buying. The buying volume coming off of these lows is really high. But it's not doing anything. It's not sparking a rally. After testing the same level so many times, price is eventually going to go below it. If they miraculously happen to get another wave of advance, then there is going to be so much selling at 12,000. There's going to be more selling at 16,000. There's going to be selling as you approach the previous top of people who bought this high. You know, the buy volume on this final wave is just so massive. The amount of people that are absolutely like been in the red for months now. They are not going to buy when it gets up here. They're first going to sell and see what happens, right? And now the sellers are enthused, you know, because look what selling has achieved. So the sellers are feeling the profit, and whenever they're selling, the sellers are going to get stronger and stronger. So this is going to carry on for a while. You know, I don't want to dash anyone's hopes, and I don't want to be like a stick in the mud and like the negative guy, because then you guys are going to get tired of me, you know. But it really benefits one to be very objective and matter of fact about what's happening in the chart. Let me just have a look at the. Let me just have a look at the chat. Christian, hey. Excuse me. I don't want to gargle like Tone Vase. I see people telling him in the chat to clear his throat. It's funny, when you speak for a long time, you know, you don't notice. Okay, so Peppy Pants, how are you? Okay, there are now 12 people. That's the perfect number. 12 is a sacred number, right? So here we are. The first thing I guess I can talk about is sure, Pepe, my objectivity. I have to admit that I'm more inclined to being bearish than bullish. It's not because I'm a negative person or not capable of optimism. I am actually. I'm really, sometimes I'm too idealistic and maybe even naive. But my orientation in the market is that I prefer it when price goes down because it's easier to trade, it's more profitable, and it suits my style in the market. You know, I detest advance, the stress of it, because, you know, as the saying goes, the bulls take the stairs, and the bears jump out the first floor window. The process of making new highs is torture. You know, I just don't like it. I don't want to be buying while it's going up. I just can't stand it. You know, I'd rather buy at the bottom somewhere and then not buy again and just ride it. You know, and you wake up and it's like, oh, it's gone up again, and you wake up and it's gone up again, and you see people like making those little roller coaster gifts, you know, like, that's fine. So be warned that I have to constantly remind myself and you guys that sometimes I'm too bearish, right? Because it suits me. I'm in my element when the market is going down. But it does mean that sometimes I'm unprepared for advance, and I'm still negative when it's time to be looking at the sky. I'm still looking down, right? And that helps during decline because I can be thoroughly bearish. When the time comes for advance, I leave that behind, and I'm like, right, we're advancing. We're above the 1 week 20 MA. We're above the 1 day 20 MA. 1 day 20 MA has already supported price twice or 3 times on corrections. Now is the bullish time. You can ask any of the members. I had been bullish since 2015, October. I became properly bullish in July 2016, where I was like, right, this is not going to go down again. If it was going to go down below 200 or 300 or whatever it was, that's no longer possible because the market was just buying up any candle that went below 300, you know, and the alignment of all the MAs was correct, and we just kept above that 1 day 20 MA, and that's it. Do you think there's still a lot of selling to be done to the Mt. Gox issue? There's still people are saying he's done, like Michael just said, like Tone Vase said he's done. I don't know. If I've not read up, I've not studied this thing about the Mt. Gox trustee and why they're selling now and how they're selling and how they intend to sell. I just don't know. So I just don't want to say anything because I don't know. If they've got coins to sell, it would make sense that they sell near the bottom or going into the bottom, because this is what large institutions do, because they run by committee, right? They run by boards and committees. They've got to put a motion on the table to sell the Bitcoin. The motion gets approved. The motion gets approved for discussion at the next meeting. At the next meeting, they vote on it. Once they've done the vote, then they've got to discuss. They've got to set up an action group as to what they're going to do. Then once the next quarterly meeting, they formulated a plan. We're going to sell. Bitcoin is going up. You know, Bitcoin has been going up for years. It's a good time to sell. Finally, they get the approval to do the sale and how they're going to do it, and the signatures are registered with a bank and the exchange or whatever, and Bitcoin is already at a low. So institutions tend to sell at the lows and buy at the highs. Central banks, governments, you know, there's a saying in socionomics, in Elliott Wave, that once government becomes involved, once government starts buying a stock, that's the top, right? Because that's just how they are, you know. I think so many people were so excited that Wall Street was becoming involved and that there was CME futures, and, you know, governments were like, central banks, like, we're going to create cryptocurrency and this and that and the other. And then people bought into that. But the fact of the matter is, once you start hearing those kind of things in the market, in any market, that means the top is near, right? yeah, because that's when these large, Wall Street institutions, banks, government become involved at that stage. I'm laboring the point. Mayon is saying that he did some reading. Yeah. I think the best price is they're going to end up panic selling probably. Yeah, because they just don't know. I mean, they're not. The trustee is not a trader. He's not a technical analyst. He's going to sell based on emotion, on pressure, on phone calls. Have you still not sold? The price keeps going. Then he's going to capitulate, right? Guys, the market. I'm going to stop the soliloquy and we're going to get onto the issues of the day, right? The more important things. But I always think of, if you look at the statistics of trading from the major brokers, FXCM and Interactive Brokers and Owanda and the major brokers that take retail customers like us, right? Where people trade Forex, all the markets of the world, right? Their results normally show that 96% of traders lost money that year, that financial year. Whatever they put in, they lost, right? 96% of them. And you might say, well, it's maybe because they're all new traders and they're still learning. Yeah, maybe, but the point I want to make to you is that the human being is not rational. Yes, when we put our minds to it, when we discuss things, when we plan things, when there's conscious effort and when there is meditation or mindfulness involved, right? And it doesn't have to be meditation. When there's mindfulness involved, we can make rational decisions. But the market is mostly emotional. What you see, that graph of the market, the Bitcoin price or the gold price, that's all emotion, right? That's all emotion, and so bear that in mind. When we're analyzing these charts, we're looking for pointers to where the herd is going, where they're pulling the momentum towards. That's what the MAs are all about. But that's all emotion. It's psychology. It's fear and panic and hope and despair and anger, and it's all these emotions. It's never clarity. That's why the price moves so much on full moon, right? That's why everything happens so much around full moon, is because then the emotions are amplified. Lao Hong Shen is asking me, how do you deal with TR when you are going to sleep and there is still no confirmed signal? Do you set a sell order on stop limit? Chen, I'm assuming your name is James on the site. I can call you Chen here, and I can always call you Chen. You tell me, okay? Help me out, because different people have different names. Like some people have, like Marty. There's one guy called Marty something to you. So I call him Marty, right? But I'm not sure if that's what he wants to be called. How I deal with a trade, a TR, a trade recommendation, so we know there's a signal coming, we know it needs confirmation, everything's looking good, but I've got to sleep, right? Like I have to sleep. I've already been up until 4 in the morning, and now my legs are starting to, but I can't stay awake and it's still not happening. What I do is I set a price alarm. I set 2 price alarms, one on my laptop, and I turn the speaker up on TradingView, and the other I put on my smartphone with the OK Exchange app, so that there are 2 alarms, one that's loud in the house and one that's loud in the bedroom next to my bed. I've slept through signals like that, but hopefully one of them wake me up, so that I know price has gone below a certain level where the trade might then be actionable. but I don't set a stop order so that when price falls through a level that it pulls me into the trade, because those have gotten me in deep trouble before. You do something like that, by the time you wake up in the morning and you grab some coffee and come to your screen, the signal might have been a fake out and reversed and liquidated you. Or variations on that. You know, it's just, I never put orders except for take profit orders and stop orders. Like, I want, if price goes above there, I want to be out. Whether I'm at the computer, I want to watch price go to that level and maybe close it earlier, or while I'm turned away and doing something else, I want for the market to try and stop me out, right? I also set a price alarm there because sometimes your stop order fails because there's not enough liquidity when price goes through. Like maybe somebody did an accidental trade for 10,000 contracts and it just zooms right through your order and spikes, and your order never activates because it hasn't got enough liquidity. I don't know if that's a thing at BitMEX, but it's happened to me at OKX a lot. It's happened to me with Forex brokers, with you know, professional Forex brokers, that stop orders don't action. Yeah, Pepe, it's possible. Hey Kun, how are you? Pepe, it's possible to set alerts, emails, SMS, I believe, yeah, text, all of that in TradingView. You've got to pay for it. I'm cheap. I don't pay TradingView. I just use what I've got. They give me one alert and I place it. With OKX, I've got more options. Their phone app is quite good. Right. So I hope you guys have been seeing me. Good. Okay, before we go to the chart, there's not much change from 20 minutes ago. I want to, let me just do this. Is that better? Like, people, the website upgrade, that was unfortunate. I got an email last week, no, I got an email 2 weeks ago from the data center in the Netherlands saying, we need to move this from there to there. You need to take backups. When we move it, there's a, it's going to hopefully be done on, in 2 or 3 months. And then, you know, you need to have backups ready because your virtual machine won't be at the same state as when, you know, it'll be as good as your last backup. So I did that. I actually did that. I'm usually a guy that procrastinates because I'm like, well, I'll wait until they give me a week so that I can have fresh backups, right? But I took backups last week. And then on the Friday, the guys, the admin from the data center said, we're doing this on Sunday, right? This Sunday past. On the Saturday night, our web servers became like problematic, right? The connectivity wasn't good. That's when I told all of you, this is, we might lose connectivity now. On the Sunday, they didn't contact me. On the Monday, I contacted them and said, oh, what the backside? You know, 2 days later, what's happening? And they said, oh, we had to reinstall the container of all these virtual machines, and there's been issues because you know, there's a new Python, not a new Python, there's a new PHP version out, version 7. There's a new MySQL version out, 5.7, I believe it is. And these things like introduce strange changes, and these guys were having trouble installing the the KVM host machines, the KVM container machines that would host the virtual machines. In the end, they lost all the containers. I had to install all our servers from scratch. I had to install them from scratch, which was, this light is really, I had to install from scratch, and now there are website issues, right? So first of all, I say don't apologize at Cryptocurrents, but my apologies for disruption. That wasn't in my control, but I feel for you because you pay, and we missed an important 1 hour signal in the market on the Monday, or was it the Sunday? We missed it somewhere, this one. This 1 hour signal right here, let me show you. This 1 hour signal right here, there's a 4 hour signal that we were aiming for. We got it, right? We got it when price went below the 200 MA, but there was a 1 hour signal that was the better entry up there. Why one can take this 1 hour signal even though it forms above the 1 hour 200 MA is because of the distance, right? The distance down to there. You can take it. If it forms like right at it, right, like right at it, then at the 200 MA, then it's more dangerous because the price might go to the 200 MA. See, there's a 1 hour signal, sell signal at the 200 MA. See that? You take it and price bounces immediately. Here at least you got some distance, right? So yeah, but we didn't take that. We didn't take that because we weren't online and we had no communications. And Mayon actually wrote to me and said, contingency plans, because not having email communication between us and you guys with each other and me with you, that is really bad. I suddenly felt really powerless. I didn't know when our servers were going to come back up. So there needs to be contingencies. I will work on those and let you know, so that if we lose our servers in the future, right, due to natural disaster or an act of God or whatever might happen, that there are other channels available. That's one thing. The other thing, the other thing is, now there are funny issues on the website. Have a look at this. Right, I'm on the website. Here's the last post I did. There's me talking to GD, Pepe Pants, Mayon was on there, and I've posted, everything is fine, right? Everything has been done, right? So if I reload this page to see anything else, okay, first of all, it's doing resolving. Okay, so this time it's fine. I don't know why it worked this time. What I have been getting is a pop-up on this page that says, "Are you sure you want to reload this page? Because it will resubmit the data that you previously put in. Like if I put a comment or an update." Are you guys getting that? I'm going to look at the chat now. Have you guys really been looking at me all this time when I was talking about the 1 hour chart? You know. Right. When I was talking about the 1 hour signal, I was talking about this one, right? There's some distance to the 200 MA. There's a 1 hour sell signal, but there's no distance to the 200 MA. It happens right there. So if one had taken that sell signal, then you would have very quickly have been stopped out, right? You would, yeah. Here you've got a fighting chance to at least get to break even. So it's worth taking a 2050 MA crossover there. There's another one worth taking. That's what I was talking about in the 1 hour chart. In terms of the website, I was saying that yeah, there's some issues coming up. I'm getting resubmission issues, and what's been happening, um, I've been getting them especially from Chris Stapps, and I think Mayon was also saying that there are blank emails coming from Chris Stapps. Now, I don't think he's doing something wrong. I think it's the website that's resubmitting an empty form from his browser whenever he reloads to see new comments. I believe that's what's happening. So let me just have a look at the comments. Oh, you saw it. Okay. 50 people in the Slack channel. Amazing. What are you all doing there? Chen, you know what? I also prefer Telegram. I prefer Telegram because it's open source. I prefer it because they don't ask for your phone number. You can have it on your smartphone, you can have it on your desktop, and when it's on your desktop browser, you get updates. You get like push alerts, right? So guys, that's the website. I might have to reinstall the whole thing, rebuild it, the WordPress aspect, because now something is wrong. Clearly something is wrong. So it's a bit more sluggish. I had lots of problems with PHP 7. The forum thing that we're using is like years old. I mean, it works, and I've been maintaining my own version of it. It's no longer maintained by anybody. So I'm happy with it, but it's written in PHP 4 or something like that, you know, so there are issues. But for now it works, we're fine. As long as we can have updates and TRs and things. The email issue is gonna resolve soon. If I, let me just make this larger, change the profile to large. Right, so if I dig the address, the new IP address, which is this 203.74, right? Have a look at this. If I do a reverse lookup, I'm getting a response from roots, from a root server, right? A root DNS server, like some high up root thing. Who doesn't, oh, this is coming from Google, by the way. Who doesn't know that this IP address belongs to Cryptocurrents? But if I, the same with NS lookup, right? If you guys know these things, you see the, you can't find it. But if I do this from, I believe I have to do like this, 158 and 203 and 74, you see then our own server knows what it is. It knows that this belongs to it. But this has got to propagate through the internet. This has got to propagate throughout the internet. It had a very long time to live, and now it's stuck. It's the old information is persisting. It's going to start expiring on Monday or Tuesday. Then we'll be fine. Right, so most of what we've discussed now is related to the website, the data center migration, issues resulting from that we're still living with. Our Bitcoin node, is took 4 or 5 days, I think 4 days to sync the blockchain. It just finished about an hour before I started it. 4 days, man. That's a big blockchain. Okay, let's move on to the price. Let me just check the chat. Mayon, with Telegram, you can do as many groups as you want, right? And then have different people in different groups. But for now, let's not change anything. If there's 50 people, if there are 50 people in Slack, then obviously like that's valuable, right? Like people want to go there and people are using it. If anybody wants to set up a Telegram group, they can do that. And it provides an alternative. That's possible. Chen, if you want to do that, go for it. If you want to create a Telegram group, I think the fact that everyone's already using Slack just means that that's okay. You know, somehow that's okay. Right. Price is busy kind of pushing higher a little bit, and yeah, of course it's going to do that. Because it's at a low where the bulls don't like to be, right? They're thinking that this is a dip buying opportunity. But like that excerpt from the book that Mayon posted last week or the week before, the bullish mentality is to buy dips, right? But during a decline, price always drops to a new low. Right, and then the bulls are forced to sell because they're like, oh God, I got that low wrong. There's a lower low. Then they sell down to the lower low. Then they start buying again, and then they fail to make a higher high, and then it goes lower again. This is the downward spiral of a sell-off. Because a bull is compelled to buy, right? They do not trade both ways in the market. They don't see that there's an opportunity to the downside. They only see opportunity to the upside. So they're going to do, they're single-minded. They're not flexible, right? 1 week chart. This is the Brave New Coin Liquid Index. That's the initial trade history from Mt. Gox. Most of the other exchanges only joined later. Bitstamp, I think, joined somewhere over here, and Bitfinex a little bit later. From this arithmetic chart, from this log chart, you can kind of get the sense that here is a price wave, right, at the beginning of Bitcoin that goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. So that makes one larger degree advancing wave, 1. Then a pullback, 2. Then 7 waves to the upside, but I'm counting this whole wave here as one wave. This is merely the fact that it's doing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a little 1, 2 down there. So this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, the 2013 high. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This here is a wave 4, lasted for a year and a half. And then the 5th wave to the upside. Now you're like, oh, but that's not much of a upside wave, right? But that's the distortion of the log scale. If you look at that wave, since it started over here in October 2015, it's a tremendous wave, and we're now dealing with the correction of this never before seen price advance. And you can see that the stochastics at the top are on their way to group at 0, right? In the same way as after the 4th wave of 2013, 2014, the stochastics went and grouped at 0 before advance could start again. Right? So you might wonder, well, what if this is this, right? What if it now suddenly reverses up? The difference between this section here and what we are looking at now is that ever since the advance began in October 2015, price held above every candle, every single candle closed above the 1 week 20 MA. Every single one. As it had always done, right? During this advance, every single candle closed above the 20 MA in the 1 week chart. Once it breaks the 20 MA in the 1 week chart, then it's a long-term decline. Over here, it held above the 20 MA all the way up to here. This is an anomaly because look, it closed 1 week, closed below the 20 MA, but the next week it was above it again. It's difficult to see, but that's what's happening there. You see that it closed below, then it reached for again, and then it struggled for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before it could close above. And once it did close above, well, that was the biggest rally that the world had seen until up to that point. So these kind of 6 weeks here or 5 weeks is an anomaly. But Bitcoin didn't have far to go. It had already corrected 90% of this entire advance, of everything that came before. This was already a 90% correction of that. So where we are today, again, the 20 MA of the 1 week chart has been breached. It's been breached. They tried to get above it, and we're back below it again. And in the arithmetic scale chart, you can see that there's no chance here that it's going to go up. If one just stands back and you look at this, that down in the valley here, this is below 1,000, and up there is 20,000 US dollars for one Bitcoin, right? And then this happens. It's not about, in my mind, and again, I don't want to be the party pooper. I don't want people to start disliking me because I'm so bearish. But once this comes down, it's not just a matter that, it's going to find support, and then all of these people are going to pour their money back in there. Because first of all, the large institutions, the biggest players, right, they're going to start selling now. This is the time where they sell. And they will buy once there's new all-time highs. That's the time when they start buying. So who is going to, and all of the early adopters, right, they're not buying additional Bitcoin because they mined it when it was less than $6, right? They mined hundreds of thousands. So guys like Trace Mayer and all these early adopters, they're not bidding price up. This is all retail excitement that's bidding the price up in relatively low liquidity, because the biggest deals in Bitcoin don't happen in the exchanges, they happen OTC, right? Tone Vays has explained that, and I agree with it. OTC is where the big transactions happen, where miners and institutional buyers hook up, or are hooked up by third-party agents, by brokers, by independent brokers. So in the exchanges, we're seeing that price is being bid up by retail investors. And everybody who bought during this phase now, are they going to start buying again? How many of them are underwater? They would buy when they start selling and price is much, much lower. Would they have the courage to buy? And even then they might lack the courage. So yes, things are very bearish at the moment, and this is to our advantage, right? Because we want to get in at the lows, we want to profit from the decline, then we will get in at the lows and then wait and sit and wait and let the market do the hard work. We don't want to be the ones who are chasing price up. This is I'm going to quickly show you something. This is the 1 week chart. Everything is pointing down. Every indicator is pointing down. RSI is below 50. Mayon, I'll come back to the RSI. MACD is pointing down, right? And it's got a long distance to go to zero. Price is pointing down. We're below the 1 week 20 MA. We're below the 1 day 200 MA. We're below the 400 MA. 200. We're below the 4 hour 200 MA. Every time frame is bearish. Every single one. So in terms of MACD alone, this is 1 week MACD pointing down. There's zero. This is 1 day MACD turning down below zero. That's very bearish. I'm going to quickly change to the Bitstamp chart so that I can show you 4 hour MACD. Cut through zero and is now, looks like it might want to turn, but it looks like it's still bearish, you know, it's still below its signal line. 1 hour MACD looks like it's wanting to turn up. Interesting. We'll get to the 1 hour chart. And 15 minutes is still returning to zero. Right. So I'll go back to the 1 day chart and then we look at that. Let's get this light out of my face. Amazing. The 1 day stochastics are coming down. 1 day RSI is below zero, but not diverged from anything, so it can go down lower. We saw that 1 day MACD is pointing down below zero, and price is below the 1 day 200 MA. It's below every MA in the 1 day chart. Okay, so that is bearish. The thing about this particular chart, what did I want to show here? I don't think the annotations are going to help here. Oh yeah. Notice that there was a 1 day crossover, a 1 day sell signal, 20 MA crossover back in the middle of January. It looks like another one could form. You see that? 20 MA, 50 MA. The 10 MA is already crossing below both. Price is below the 200 MA. Let's see. That to me seems a little bit harsh. That seems a little bit too harsh. I would expect the price would come back to 6,000 or, 5,000 or, somewhere there, and then rebound to the upside for a while. But I'm not sure. Just excuse me a minute. I just turned this light on my face. I just need to check something here. I'm looking at the 5-minute chart where there's a very vigorous rebound happening while we've been talking. Very vigorous. Look, that distance is not that great. That's about $300. But it's all green candles. It's all green candles. And it's now reaching the 15-minute 200 MA. This is a bitstamp chart. And it looks like 15 minutes going to push above its zero line. And going to the 1 hour chart, check this out. The 50 MA is being challenged. So we had a sell signal in the 1 hour chart, and now we're reversing exactly at the moment when it happens, within hours of it, we reversed. We reversed, the low was struck even before that signal formed. So this is reminding of exactly the same situation we had here when we took a 4 hour signal. This is a 4 hour chart. We took a 4 hour signal, price came to a low right on almost on the 1 hour sell signal that we got in, the price reversed. Here again, there is a new 1 hour sell signal here at the low. So it means that this level, now I can highlight it. Boy, that's really messy. That's really messy. That this magenta area here, if I highlight it, if I increase its coloring some more, right? This area is formidable support. It's almost what they call in commodity markets a demand zone. Whenever the market goes there, there's buying. There's demand at this level, and people want to buy. What else could be at play here, and I'm going to take the annotations away, is that normally when you get a 50 crossover and a 50 MA crossing over a 100 MA, price reverses into it. Now, I thought this was the reversal into it earlier today, but it seems like this is it. And probably price will now, if it's going to hold below this 400, 200 MA, can then reverse back down. But if it breaches the 400, 200, 4 hour 220 MA, right, if it goes above the green MA, then we're probably going back to the 4 hour 200 MA, the red MA. Let's see. This wave here since the middle of February has been extremely deceptive and difficult. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know what to... The signals are false. That 1 hour signal there was perfect, but we were not in contact. I was not... The website was migrating. I couldn't release a TR. I had no way of contacting all of you and saying, sell, sell, sell. There's a confirmed 1 hour sell signal, And also, I was scared of what had happened at the previous 4 hour sell signal. Where almost as it happened, there was a low at the 200 MA. So this has been very difficult if you compare to what came before. 4 hour sell signal, massive trade right there. 4 hour sell signal, massive trade. 4 hour sell signal, one of the best trades of this year, that one. But here, 4 hour sell signal, loser. Here, 4 hour sell signal, but we're not really getting the profits. We're not really getting the profits that these signals should be giving us. So what is the conclusion? This is a correction. It's going to go higher. As bearish as the chart looks, this is going to maybe go towards 12,000 again and sideways and eventually down. But because every other signal is a fake out, it can only be corrective, right? Because when we get a signal in the direction of trend, we get a long trade every time. But now we're getting reversals soon after every signal. And how do we know? We have to trade the signal. How can we know in advance, oh no, this is going to soon reverse? As cautious as I am, as much as I'm saying, wait for things to stack up, wait. By the same token, we didn't get in the 1 hour sell signal today because I was being cautious. by the same token, we've missed other good trades because I was being too cautious. And what option does one have in this market now? The signals are faking out. I want to have a look at the chat a little bit. Let's see what that 15-minute chart is doing. Boy, oh boy, they're just flying. Typical advancing waves. So this is an A, right? This is A, B, C, right? Which makes an A wave. A, B, C, that's an A wave. A waves are typically 3 subwaves. Then a B wave, right? Then 5 waves to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? There's the top. So A, B, C, right? Then we come down in 3 waves. A, B, C. See that? A, B, C. So this is A up to there. This is B down to there. And now we're in wave C. So this is 1, 2, 3. It's gonna make a wave 4 on top of this 200 MA, I believe, and then push wave 5 to up there. It should be close to this. It should be close to 9,600. So then we'll have an A, B, C. C's got to be 5 waves to the upside, and then back down. So wasting time and effort and money in the market, because nobody gains from any of this. The people are selling, then they're buying, then they're buying, then they're selling. It's a roller coaster. It's a rigmarole. Right. You guys were looking at me all that time. Here we go. 15-minute chart. A, B, C makes an A wave. This is a B wave coming down. 1, 2, 3. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves to the upside, right? So that's A, B, C, which makes a large wave A. Then we've got 3 waves to the downside, which makes a B wave. A, B, C. That's B waves are also 3 waves. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, a wave 4 will correct back to the 200 MA, I guess, and then 5 back to the level of 9,600 near the top of this. So you'll kind of have this rounded forward wave, straight down, and a curved up wave, making the C wave, which must be 5 waves, and then possibly we're going down again. By that time, the 4-hour 20 MA would have been broken. The 1-day chart will still be borderline bearish, but probably neutral. So this is very tough, guys. This is very tough. This market is tough. I'm telling you, I haven't seen it this tough for a long time. I haven't seen it this tough for a long time. See what the indicators are doing. How is the feed, by the way? It should be good. Lots of comments. I'll get to them. The stream health is good. You know, guys, you guys know what I did? I simply matched my software settings to what Google expected, and that solved everything. Once Google got what it wanted, all the nonsense stopped. 38K in May. No, I doubt it. I wouldn't. If there's a signal, if there's a 1-day signal and price is back above the 1 week 20 MA and it's signaled and we trade the signal and our 20 MA dynamic stop loss keeps us in trend all the way to 38,000, well then yes, we'll see it. And we'll trade it. You know, we won't say, no, let's not trade the signal because Venzen is bearish. No, no, no. If we get the signal, we trade it, right? But I doubt it, guys. I doubt it. 38,000 in May 2020. Yeah, not this year. Tone is being Kristaps. Tone is being bullish. I don't know why he's being so bullish. I don't know on what he's basing that. If his bias is perhaps from being a holder, a hodler. I'm not sure. Why he's being so bullish, I don't know. I think it's good to have offsets, you know, to have juxtaposition that I'm bearish and he's bullish, because strangely enough, neither of us are getting our direction, right? Yeah, so neither of us are right or wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mayon is really spiking up. You guys, I hope people get out of there, have their stop losses set. And this trade got us nothing, except a little bit of partial profit we took at the lows, right? Couldn't, sure. I hope you could see it. Yeah, I can't see the comments while I'm on the chart, so I didn't know that you guys were not seeing me. Christian is asking do you think we will still be going back with a decent correction now? Do I still think that we'll go back up with a decent correction now? Yes. If this, right, this A, B, C that we had yesterday, and then now this, so this is A, B to the bottom, C to the upside, that's potentially what's happening here. Then we got to go back down, right, because then it's an ABC. And then that was a correction just above the support zone, and then we go back down and break it to the downside. That's one option. The other option right here is that this is 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Wait. That can't be, because this goes lower than this. So it might be that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your first wave, right? Then an ABC correction. So this is 1, 2, that we're now in wave 3, and then by the time that these 5 waves to the upside, that we're now back in an advancing sort of phase of this correction, then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 back to the 11,000s. That's the other option we can see. Right now in the 15-minute chart, there is a messy kind of signal, a messy buy signal. Let's see if it's confirmed in the 5-minute chart. That's a confirmation of the 15-minute buy signal, right? In the 1-hour chart, but however, let me just say this: 15-minute is only now going above its zero, right? It will go, but it's these signals are sluggish. 1 hour, there's no signal. All that we know is we had a sell signal 3-4 hours ago. There's no buy signal. So this is all happening. What we're seeing is happening at the 15-minute time frame, not at the 1-hour time frame. Does that make sense? In other words, we can get a return to the 1-hour 200 MA. It's like price has been too far from it for too long, so it's like, I want to go back there, security blanket. Go back to that 20 MA, that 200 MA in the 1-hour chart, then we have to see what happens from there. It might be that we get a buy signal in the coming day or two, but once again, it's going to happen on the wrong side of the of the 200 MA. So this is really frustrating. You know, it's like price, look at the 1 hour chart. It's just crisscrossing its 200 MA. Every price wave is crossing the 200 MA. Cross, cross. Let's call this one wave up to there, right? Up to there. Cross below it, cross above it, cross below it. Now it looks like it's going to cross above it again, probably to something like this. See that trend line there? My feeling is this is where it's going. If it goes, if we get a buy signal in the 1 hour chart, then we're probably going to go up there, which means we're then going to breach this downtrend line, which is going to make the bulls very excited. So the danger all along, the danger in all of this, the inevitability of this, right, we're looking for decline, right? But we're not getting it. In any large correction, and this is a large correction, you tend to get 3 waves or 5 waves down. So let's say that this is 1, 2, 3, and then I was hoping for 4, 5, right? Maybe to a double bottom or lower. In which case, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the bottom, which makes this then the first wave of decline. Then the inevitability is whether this is 3 waves, A, B, C, right, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whichever one of those 2 it is, the bulls need to stage a denial wave, the infamous B wave, which is a massive deluded return to the previous high. So A, B, C, then you want to see A, B, C to there. Now, I was thinking, well, let's first get to the lows so that price can bounce, and then we get that B wave close to the previous highs. It's going to go 15,000 or 18,000, something like that. Why it would happen from here, I don't know, because the market has given up the 1 day 20 MA. It's given, you see there? It's still right now below the 1 day 20 MA with 1 day D pointing down. In the 4 hour chart, we're still below the 4 hour 200 MA, right? So what is it bouncing from? It's bouncing from this magenta layer, which is a very strange thing to do because that's not the low. That's just some, you know, contention area that happened in November last year. And that price crossed fairly easy recently. Why now is it important? I don't understand. My thought would have been like, we'd go lower, bounce off of the previous low, 6,000, and then cut through all of this with like ease, you know, in the B wave. But this is not what's happening. I've got no clue why or why not, or, you know, the chart technicals are just in a mess. There's a lot of crisscrossing rather than just taking a direction and going with it like we saw during January. And like we saw most of last year, take a direction, stick above a certain MA and just keep going, you know. There's an example. Now this here is disappointing because it's disappointing because it's making me to look foolish, you know, to two 4 hour signals, which are major strong signals in a row, have resulted one in a losing trade, one in a break-even trade. While all of this is going on, the 1 day chart is becoming more and more bearish. The 1 week chart remains bearish. And I'm like, well, guys, we're going down, right? Like when I started this session, I was like, we're going down. And then, you get these kind of fly away waves, like what's happening now, right now. And you kind of wonder, like, I know my method works. It's there. You guys have seen it work. We can see it produce good trades in the chart. But now it's not working for us. And as I said, the only conclusion can be is that it's a correction, that we're in a correction, and this is still part of it. We have not seen the lows, and we have not seen the highs of whatever is unfolding now. Let me have a look at some. Let me have a look at some questions in the screen share. BitMEX is experiencing a server error. Kun is asking about BitMEX. I don't know. Maybe you guys can answer him in chat. I'm not familiar with BitMEX's terminology and everything. I used it for a few weeks, maybe 2 years ago, and I didn't like it. I just couldn't understand what was going on there, to be honest. They use a lot of complex language. They've got strange, indexes and last price and this and that. I know it's last price, but then when they turn that into a sort of a metric for your entry that you buy at some other price rather than the price that the index is, I just got really confused, and their interface wasn't intuitive to me. I already had an OK coin exchange, so I just went back to that. I just used that. Whenever you talk about the whales, there's some danger that you might be talking nonsense, because you don't know, you cannot know what the whales are up to, right? They don't advertise it. It's not provable. You can't say yes. This can be proved, so now we know. So it's always speculation. It's always conjecture. And looking at this double bottom, right? What's a triple bottom over here? This is pretty evident. I mean, I didn't spot that earlier today when I was looking at this chart, but this formation here is clearly setting up a move higher, right? And this is a vigorous move higher. They've gone from 600 to 9,200. They're pushing. So, that's what's that, 600. In a few candles, very few candles with no pullbacks. Who's going to do that? Who's going to just say, no, I'm going to buy now? There was no strong buy signal at the bottom. In fact, all the charts were very bearish right down there. What motivated who to buy there? Did any of us think maybe we should prepare to buy now? I certainly wasn't thinking that. None of you were saying, shouldn't we be thinking about the upside because of these technical signals? There were no technical signals that an upside reaction is possible. So my thinking that somebody is stimulating this, somebody is artificially inducing this, is one explanation. Another explanation is that this is a hopeful and emotive reaction. 1, 2, 3 bottoms, gotta buy, kind of thing. That's my two explanations for it. I don't have any other. There certainly weren't technical indications of this. It was looking like we were going to cut into that support zone. That's what it looked like roundabout here for most of today. mark, yeah. I'm just reading what you guys are commenting about BitMEX, that they're good videos, that they're using that, I called it last price, mark price, to dictate your entry. Yeah, the other problem is that BitMEX, I don't know what's going on there. One can't really know what's going on in these exchanges. Yeah, maybe there was some profit taking there, and then the shorts have to close, and they reverse position because of frustration with not getting a new low. That's an explanation. That's a good explanation. Any candle that spikes too far too fast is soon retraced, either completely or at least by 50%. So I don't see any reason to buy this. There's it going up, and every time you look back at it, it's higher. So what do? Do you buy now? No, you don't buy now, because this is a 15-minute chart. This move started more than an hour ago, and where you want to buy is here, where you see the signal forming. Right now, the 5-minute signal would have been sooner than that. But even so, I wouldn't have guessed that it went that far. Oh no, the 5-minute signal was late. It happened so quickly that the 5-minute signal only became a crossover 11:50, half an hour ago, after the move is well advanced. So when I was a young trader, this is typically the kind of move that I would jump in. It's like, oh, it's going up, let me also get in, right? And then as soon as you do get in, it reverses. And if you don't get in, you watch it go up, 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 and up. So my approach to this is only trade on signals when they are confirmed. This confirmation came late because the move is so vigorous, and the 1-hour chart, which I'm bringing up now, contradicts this. Price is now going to hit the 1-hour 100 MA and the previous high of yesterday. Then it's going to hit the 200. If it can get past that, then it's got to make its way to the 200 MA now. It's not going to do all of that in a straight line, right? There's going to be shenanigans at whatever this price is, 9,500. There's going to be shenanigans. Probably a buy signal will form around about 9,100, 9,200. If the 1-hour chart will go to a buy signal, we'll take it. We'll have to take it because if a buy signal forms and price is pushing the 200 MA, well, then it becomes the size of it means that there is a return to 11,000 on the way. Let's see what we get. My thinking is this: it's not going to get further than the 1-hour 200 MA for now, and there's no reason to trade it because it's at the point where the move is, the same. When you notice it, when you notice the move, it's already over. So we just let it be, right? We just let it be. Very bad for our, not bad, very unfortunate for our downside scenario, because now everyone stopped out at break even, but we didn't lose, but we didn't make much either. I took some profits down here. I took some profits down there. Increased position there, took some profits down here, but I had to close my position in a rush. I'm not going to let it go to the stop loss up there, because that there is a spike, right? Who knows how far it'll spike before it comes back down there, back to the 100 MA. If the 4 hour was bearish while there was a 1 hour bullish signal, yes, it would put me off. But you see, for instance, here, the minute you take the 4 hour signal, it often reverses. You see, there's the 4 hour signal, it's soon after reversed. There's the 4 hour signal, price reversed into it and then advanced, but this advance was really lame. You know, that was like, I think $400 of advance. Oh, it was more than that. 10,500 to 11,500, but it was painful, you know, that was painful. There was some 15-minute sell signals in there, it was just... So, conceivably, all of these MAs can now return to 10,000 and then form a buy signal, but I don't think so. It's too early to speculate. We'll have to see. I'd be interested to see what the tone vase indicator says on there. It's just loading. One day. That's a nice channel, right? That's a nice channel, and you'd expect price to, I mean, if it respects that upper trend line, you'd expect it to return to the bottom of the channel. That was my thinking. That's why I was saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or potentially A, B, C, D, E. The one-day chart gives no good clue. I think my stream might be breaking up because this is straining my internet connection. I don't see any good reason why price should now go up, you know, on a 6. Maybe a bit of a correction, and then additional decline. You know, in the same way that you had a 4 candle there, during that massive decline earlier, you had a 4 candle there, then a 5, 6, 7. So I expected something like that here: 4, 5, 6, 7. But now the 6 is going up, right? 4-hour chart, tone vase indicator. It reversed on a 11, and this candle has still got 3.5 hours to go. 4, 5. You see, these patterns don't, sometimes this indicator doesn't help me much, you know. For instance, there you got a red 9, right, and then it started counting down to a 13, but we never got to 13, and it skipped so many candles doing that countdown that I was like, well, I don't know if I can believe it. The 1-hour chart had a 9 to the downside today and is now doing a count up. So 1, 2, 3, so presumably it'll want to go to 13. You know, if this is an advancing scenario, but I don't know. I don't know how to interpret this indicator. What is useful about it, although one doesn't often see the 9s at the right places, in my view, is that a decline has only got so many waves in it, right? And if the market stops decline, if bullish sentiment just buys at this level, it can eat up those waves because they're not making downside progress. They kind of make little corrections, right? But this indicator is useful because a decline has got so many waves and a decline has got so much time. An advance too. An advance has got only so many waves and only so much time per wave. And that's where I see the value of this indicator, but in this correction that we're in, it's not really helping. Our signals are being negated. The MA signals, they're being negated, and this indicator is not much help here. You know, I've been watching Tone, and I've heard Tone say this is really difficult. You know, you kind of get into trades based on this time indicator, and then most of them get stopped out, or they're in the wrong direction, or you know, it's kind of frustrating. So the 4-hour chart, I think this has got a lot to do with it. This 50-100 MA crossover. Okay, my internet's is slowing down. I just want to see that I'm still online with you guys. Stream is still good. That's amazing, considering how much problems it was giving before. So people, the microphone, camera, everything's issues. Microphone squeal, camera issues, microphone issues, all of that will be solved during next week when I get some equipment to up the game here a little bit. Right, so that's been an hour and a half. Has anybody got some questions for me? I'm gonna change to the YouTube page, and then I'll come back here when I answer the question. The RSI, can I quickly address that? Yeah, the audio is okay, Parlando, except that there's a high-pitched little whine back there, and that shouldn't be there. It should be nice and clear. I just want to answer the question that Mayon asked me earlier today on the website is, can I share the RSI indicator? This one. Sure I can. Just a minute. I can share this MRSI indicator, but it is very easy to make it because it's a standard RSI. I just changed the time period on it to 9, right? And then I put Bollinger Bands on. Now to put Bollinger Bands on a indicator, my screen is completely locked up. To put Bollinger Bands on an indicator, you go to this little plus sign. You see that? There's a little plus sign up there. And then it allows you to choose, say, Bollinger Bands, right? I don't think it's going to work for me because I can't put more indicators or more charts or anything. You choose Bollinger Bands, and then you just copy my values up there. I think it's like, it's something here. I think it's 1.5. Now I'll tell you exactly what it is. You use RSI instead of price as what you want the Bollinger Band to be based on. These thresholds, 50, 31, those are just lines I'm drawing across the page, right? That's not important. The regular RSI indicator has it anyway. My Bollinger period that I'm using here, I believe is, let's see. So I'm using the first Bollinger Bands. So the Bollinger period is 50 and its multiplier is 2. That's your standard deviation there, right? 2. This short period, long period, don't worry about that. That is to calculate divergences, right? But they're not really useful. You know, like this. They're not really useful. I can share this. If anybody is keen to have this, just send me an email and I'll link you up to this. But it's almost easier just to make your own. By using a regular RSI, clicking the little plus sign, choosing Bollinger Band, and then changing Bollinger Band, instead of using price close or price open or anything like that, use RSI, the value of RSI. And that's it. So you got Bollinger Bands on RSI. And that's Bob's your uncle. You see, so here's it already losing. Here's it already coming to a standstill. Because it's a 15-minute signal and not a 1-hour signal. As much as this was a 15-minute signal and not a 1-hour signal. This is a 15-minute signal and not a 1 hour. So it's going to run out of juice somewhere between the 100 MA and the 200 MA in the 1 hour chart. And then that move would have been exhausted. And then we have to see if the 1 hour chart, the 4 hour chart follow in behind, whether we're in for something bigger. I think this is a correction and we're still going to go down. It's only the vigor of it is a little bit surprising. Aries, if you want RSI and the stochastics, send me a message, a private message over in Cryptocurrents and tell me your username in TradingView and I will add you to those. They are invite only indicators, so I will add you and then they'll be available if you go to your indicators, right, in TradingView. You'll see invite only scripts, right? So for instance, Tone has included me in his invite. He's given me access to his indicator, and here are mine, MACD and the stochastic. I'll add RSI as well. So whoever wants to access RSI or these indicators, my indicators, send me a private message in Cryptocurrents. Tell me your username on TradingView and I'll add you. No problem whatsoever. Sure, the stochastics are really interesting. That was a really interesting learning experience. Because the stochastic formula, man, that's stochastic. You know, when you get into the maths of that, Pepe, you're asking me to explain a bit about multi-time frame stochastics and broadly what the value in them is. Okay, let me get to Pepe's question. Multi-time frame is important, and the principle of multiple time frame is that if you see something at the okay, we're in the 1 hour chart, so let's look at the 1 hour chart without anything, right? We just want to see, I'm not going to switch off the indicators. I'm just going to say only look at price. So you're seeing that price is going down and MACD is crossing below its zero line, right? It's below its signal line and below the zero line. That's the usual way that you trade MACD, that you interpret MACD. Then one can say, well, that's great, but what is happening at the next bigger time frame, right? So let's go to 4 hour, and then on this date, at this point, right here, we see that in the 4 hour chart, MACD is also crossing below its signal line, but it's not yet, it's got a distance to go, but if it crosses its signal line, it's most likely on its way to zero, because the 1 hour chart has gone, MACD has gone below zero, right? So there's momentum in that direction. According to our analysis, that not a lot of traders use, because the moving averages are generally regarded as lagging indicators. They're slow, and you won't see a lot of traders doing what I'm doing here, right? Like putting on a whole set of moving averages and then interpreting their motion and their interaction. This is not there's no way you can really learn about this kind of analysis. What people tend to do is they use a 50 MA and the 200 MA, and then they look for golden crosses, right? This kind of thing. But in Bitcoin, it's not really useful. Look, there's a golden cross to the upside right at the moment when price reverses. We're about to go into a golden cross to the downside. But will price push through here? We don't know. Where's a golden cross? 50 MA crossing the 200 MA. The 50 MA, the blue MA crosses the red MA, the 200 MA, just as price reverses. So, you know, it's like, well, a golden cross, is that really useful? The 50 MA crosses the 200 MA, a golden cross to the upside. There it's useful, but during this advance, I mean, you knew it was an advance already. You knew it was an advance since October 2016 because price was above the 1 week 20 MA and it never went below. So all of this was advanced constantly. Okay, but you can trade the golden cross right there. It's not a bad idea. You know, it's not a bad idea. But we don't focus on the golden cross. Most traders do. They use the 20 and the 50, sorry, the 50 and the 200 MA, and they might say, oh, there's a golden cross, so this is an opportunity. But I just showed you that there are most instances of the golden cross in this chart don't result in a profitable trade. They're exactly at the turn of trend. Yeah, so that's why I include extra indicators, right? And that was just trial and error until I found something that worked in this chart. The 20 MA was a great discovery because people were using 23 MA and people were using, you know, 25 MA and things, and I tried those, and eventually I was like, no, it's got to be the 20 MA. Obviously, I'm going to use the 50 MA because most traders look at that. And then half of that would be the 25 MA, but the 25 MA just wasn't acting as well in the chart, especially in the larger time frames, 1 week and 1 day. It just wasn't holding, it wasn't supporting price in the same way. So I was like, well, okay, the 20 MA is going to be the 20 MA. Got to use the 50 MA. I'm going to go double the 50 MA, which is the 100 MA, and then I'm going to go double the 100 MA, which is the 200 MA. Perfect, because the 200 MA is the most useful and the most used MA. Then, and I just showed you how we look at 2 different time frames to kind of get an idea of what the larger trend is, right? Like we see a move in the 1 hour chart. What's happening in the 4 hour chart? Oh, the 4 hour chart's also going down. So this 1 hour move is a good idea. You know, it's a good idea to take that trade. The thing is then, how do we choose the time frames? Why do I not use the 12 hour? Why don't I use the 3.5 hours? Why don't I use the 20-minute chart? Why don't I use the 10-minute chart? Why? Because I say let's start at the hour, right? And the principle, the sort of the concept of multiple time frame analysis, if you go and study it in some of these websites that teach technical analysis, they recommend that you use a time frame that is like 3 times or 4 times, no, between 3 times and 6 times larger. So I was like, well, if my MAs are mostly doubles of each other, from the 50 to the 100, from the 100 to the 200, then I'm going to use time frames that are quarters of each other, not quarters, quadruples of each other, multiplied by 4. So from the 15-minute to the 1 hour, right, is times 4. From the 1 hour to the 4 hours is times 4. And those are our most important time frames for analysis. Yes, then we go to the 1 day, and the 4 hours goes into 24 hours 6 times. So there's a bit of an anomaly there, but it's okay. That's okay. It's not a big break. From the 15-minute down to the 5-minute is only a multiple of 3. So there's an anomaly there, but it's okay because we're mostly interested in that sweet spot. Those indicators 15-minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour. And then their indicators, their moving averages correlate, because there's a common factor of 2, right? The moving averages are doubles, and the time frames are quadruples. So for instance, if you look at this 200 MA in the 4-hour chart, and we drop down to, we go down a quarter time frame. No, the 200 is not a very good example at all. Oh yeah, it'll be I should go up. The 200 MA in the 1-hour chart, you see where it cuts its position. It goes through this correction after the low, price comes above or below, and price cuts below it again. So look in the 4-hour chart. That is the equivalent of the 50 MA. See the blue MA? The 1-hour 200 MA is the 4-hour 50 MA. Exactly. They're tracing exactly the same line and the same level all along. So there is a symmetry and a balance there between the choice of time frames and the choice of MA multiples. And I find that it works. That doesn't mean that the market's always going to do what the signals say, because the market can be full of shit, like it's been doing. But when it does work, when price is trending, which is not what it's doing at the moment, when there is trending price action, then it's very easy to jump between the time frames and see I really hope you guys are watching the chart and not me. Then it's easy to see your different MAs at different time frames by only looking at one chart. For instance, the 1-hour chart, or for instance, the 4-hour chart. You can know what the smaller time frame MAs are doing as well, you see. So you develop a kind of a meta view from the 4-hour chart into the 1-hour and the 15-minute chart. But that takes practice and that takes mindset, right? It's not something I can teach you. You've got to develop the sense for that. And essentially what we're doing is we're looking for crossovers with this method. We're looking for the 2050 MA crossover. That's our most important signal. And then we want it to be confirmed at the next smaller time frame, right? So if this is a 4-hour chart, we want the 1-hour chart to give us a full valid signal right there. And we want to see the 4-hour chart MACD cross below 0. And we want to see the same thing, or an already bullish 1-hour MACD. And that's really what this method is all about, right? That's what it's all about. Of course, as you're saying, well, there's a 4-hour crossover. It's confirmed in the 1-hour chart. Then what's happening in one larger time frame, the 1 day, time frame? Well, that's neither bullish nor bearish. It's below 0 in its MACD, which is bearish. Its stochastics are dropping, which is bearish. Its RSI is below 50, which is bearish, but we're above the 200 MA in the 1-day chart. And there had just been, at the time of that 4-hour signal that we looked at just now, there had just been a bullish crossover of the 2050 MA, but it was capped. This was not in the right place. This 100 MA needs to be below the crossover. The crossover needs to push through or be above the 100 MA. So hence this chart is in a catch-22. The 1-day chart's in a catch-22. It's in a lockup. It's in a gridlock. That's why we're getting all this shenanigans here, because even though most people don't look at these MAs to be able to see what we're seeing, these MAs are showing us that there is confusion in this range, right? So we're getting a massive correction here. The bulls can't get to 12,000. The bears can't get below this 8,500. You see, and all the MAs are busy gathering in this area. They're all gathering in this area. About a few weeks or a few months from now, there's going to be a lockup. There's going to be a breakout from this area. In the meantime, short term, I still think we're going to go down. But then I'm a little bit shocked, because if price goes down, then we're going to get a 1-day sell signal, which is really weird, because that means that we're possibly going to see 2,000 in the coming months or coming weeks. 2,000, that is rough. That is rough. Why do I say 2,000? Easy. For 2 reasons. I just showed you previously the chart with the tone phase indicators, and there were 2 trend lines coming down like this, off of those tops and off of these bottoms, and they were exactly parallel. And where the bottom channel, where the bottom trend line, where price meets it in a straight line down, is 2,000, right? A straight down trend line like that. If price drops straight down in the coming weeks, it can hit 2,000. But more than that, looking at the 1-week chart, I'm going to put it in log view. Since we've lost the 1-week 20 MA, since price is below it and the 10 MA is crossed below it, right, there is a chance that we're going to revisit this 50 MA, the blue MA. If we revisit the blue MA, this is going to pull the 20 MA into a dive, right? And we see that the stochastics are still coming down. If there is at any time a crossover of the 20 MA and the 50 MA in the 1-week chart, that is very bearish, and we can see the 100 MA or the 200 MA very easily. And the 200 MA, the red MA down there, is at 1,926 in the Bitstamp chart. And that's why I believe 2,000 is technically possible. Whether we will see it now or see it later, I don't know. But that's why I keep saying 2,000. That to me is dangerously low, but it is technically possible. I don't like to think about it. Christian is asking, you have to go to lunch. Thanks for the live stream. Sure. Yeah, it's a shame about 8,500. This has not been my favorite week of the year. At the same time, I don't take trades personally. I just get annoyed when signals don't play out. um, having one signal not play out every now and again is okay. You'd expect that. But having two signals not play out in a row um, sort of dents my ego, and I'm a vain and petty man, and then I get annoyed. I sort of get annoyed, and that's not a good mindset to be in when you're trading and when you're analyzing, because then you start making decisions based on anger and ego and sort of a desire to be right, and that's exactly the wrong place to be. So guys, I promise I will balance my mental and keep giving the objective. Mayan, you're asking if I work with a minimum risk reward ratio. No, I don't get into that. I don't get into that. As long as my stop loss, my entry stop loss does not cost me more than 3 or 5% of my total account funds, I'm okay with it. I'm willing to take the signal and be wrong, because 7 out of 10 signals that we take do work out. So there is the probability factor of these MA signals that most of them are successful. So beyond that, it's just a matter of money management. To say, well, when I do lose, I've got to lose small. So I limit that to 3 to 5%. Of course, bigger losses happen because sometimes your stop loss fails, or sometimes you lose connectivity to your platform before you've set a stop loss. You get liquidated. You get liquidated for 25% of your account, because that was your position. You put it down a position for 25%. When you get liquidated, that's all gone, and that's tough. That's tough to take. But most of the time it doesn't happen. Most of the time we're making profits from these trades. So just make sure you keep your losses small, so then you don't get into these kind of risk reward calculations, because how do you determine that? How do you determine what's going to happen? Bitcoin is so wild, it's almost impossible to know what it's going to do. In my mind anyway. You might have a different view on it. If you do find something and you're studying in that line, let us know. Let me know and let us know on the website. Kun, do you work on OKCoin with manual stop loss? I only see you can put in a market or limit order and no. So, Kun, no, I'm not trading OKCoin. I say OKCoin because their futures market and their spot market used to be mixed in under the same name, OKCoin. Now it's OKCoin is a spot market and sort of tokens, and there's a subsidiary called OKX, which offers futures, I believe out of Hong Kong, with offices in Belize and servers in Singapore. I'm not exactly sure. I always want to find out like how they are positioned in the world, where they are geo-located, but it's difficult to find that out. So OKX has got what they call a trigger order, which is a stop order, and they've got a limit order, and that's it. How's it, MJ? You say that you started watching late. MJ, nothing except that you must close, you must have your stop loss in place for your 4-hour trade. I assume it's been liquidated by now. Just a minute. I assume it's been liquidated by now. So try to get out of that trade. Don't let it go into a loss, man, because this upward reaction is rough. It's rebounding right to where we entered. Couldn't you want to know what platform do I trade on? I trade on OKX. The exchange is called OKX. OKEX. OKX is great because they've existed for like 4 years, 5 years, and they deliver Bitcoin. You only trade with Bitcoin. You make bets. Your account is denominated in Bitcoin. You bet Bitcoin to make Bitcoin. They deliver Bitcoin every Friday. So it's not like the CME where it's cash denominated, cash settled. They don't give you US dollar for your wins and losses. They give you Bitcoin. So I've never bought Bitcoin in my life. I've earned Bitcoin and put it in OKX and grew my Bitcoin, by trading it. So I don't link bank accounts to the exchange or whatever. I just multiply my Bitcoin with a physical delivery of Bitcoin every Friday is when they pay out. People, I'm going to call it a night right there because now we've been going for 2 hours. I'm kind of annoyed about this price wave. It's unfair. It's not good. It's annoying. It's a spanner in the works with this wave up now. What can we do? What can we do? The market's like that. OKX is good because Aries, you see, Aries, I can answer your question, no problem. With OKX, you see the order book. There's not a lot of liquidity. They've got different contracts with different amounts of liquidity in there. But the ones that are more liquid tend to be more wild. There's a lot of spiking and craziness. I trade the little 1 week contract, which has got like medium liquidity. You can generally open positions worth about 1,000, 2,000 contracts. You can do them at about 200, 500 contracts at a time to build a position because that's the liquidity that's available. When you execute it, you get it straight away. You don't wait, there's no slippage, there's no, and then on your stop loss, you've got to make sure that you don't cut it too fine on your stop loss. You've got to put your trigger, say, here's my execution price, here's my order price, and make that like $100 of worth of distance so that you can get 500 contracts liquidated in there, executed in there. So if you want to get out of a position of 2,000 contracts or 10,000 contracts, you can't do it with one order. You can't. You gotta do it in groups, in lumps. You gotta say, okay, in this $100, I'll get rid of 500. In this lump there, So this means that it's very difficult to trade large positions at OKX, which I think you can do at BitMEX. Because of course you don't want to trade too large positions because it's mad. These things go wrong in the markets, and the other thing is that they settle every Friday, and then your position average price goes to where the settlement price was. So if you're busy trading down and there's people take profit into the settlement and price is rising, you were in profit when you were down there. Suddenly, this becomes your new position price, and the market's like woohoo, like what happened on Friday. It's time to go up, and then you're sitting in a losing position immediately. So you always want to close on the Thursday or the Friday, in anticipation of the next week's settlement cycle. It just takes some getting used to. It just takes a different kind of approach of trading. You're trading against other traders, and you're trading against the exchange and against time, and there's not really enough liquidity to open large positions and make like jackpots of money. You just got to slowly but surely like get there. And if we trade these signals, that's how we do it. It's easy but steady, slow but steady. We get there. I hope that answers the question. Oh, BitMEX has a perpetual, so it doesn't expire. It's the most liquid, yeah, but it's wild. It's wild. And I should really try BitMEX again. Um, I will if there's a boring time in the market, but right now, what will I go and do at BitMEX, for instance, if I want to try it today? It's like, what am I going to do? There's no signal that I want to trade. There's no signal that's worth trading. These ones that we got now in the 50-minute chart, they've played out already. They might have a little bit of upside, but don't look good. It works like a spot market. Can you trade with leverage, Aries? In leverage in the perpetual swap? Yeah, learning curve. Yeah. Guys, I really love these discussions. I would like to carry on all night, but I've got to eat. I've got to go to the bathroom. I need to put some ice in this beer. It's my turn to do some things around the house, and yeah, now I've got to look at this chart, man. I'm really annoyed about that. I won't remain annoyed, but you don't know. Yeah, it's like I get a thorn through my neck, and then feel like fighting with somebody. But I won't fight with you. Guys, thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the support. Thanks for supporting Cryptocurrents despite the rough week, man. This has been a terrible week in terms of the website not being online, us missing a major trade signal in the 1 hour chart, and now this 4 hour trade going bad. My tendency is to say, like, apologies for the inconvenience, but I can't apologize. This is what the market does. The website had been running smooth for almost for years, until this major disruption. Yeah. Okay, guys, good. Any questions, indicators, anything like that? PM me on the website. I'll get them to you. Tell me your username on TradingView, and Vendetta's asking if it's live, if anyone's here. Yeah, we're here, Vendetta, but we're just finishing. You can watch it from the beginning. There's a lot of discussion there that might be interesting. I'm going to edit it a bit. I'm going to cut off the beginning and the end, like people don't need to listen to this particular waffling. So everybody, good luck. Communications on the website. My email works. I think a lot of you are receiving email. By Tuesday, Wednesday latest, the DNS time to live will have expired, and email should be 100%, and the website too. Okay, everybody, so thanks again, and have a good evening. Good luck with the trades. Let's look for the next signal whenever and wherever that is. Possibly to the downside. I reckon to the downside. Goodbye for now.